your gut feel out of that? You seem to do so much right, but obviously couldn't get the result. But yeah, how do you weigh up the end result with the positives that you seem to show?
Yeah, obviously we knew the challenge of coming to Adelaide and playing a side that's in unbelievable form, and you could see from the boys' outset that they were in for the fight, and they were up for the game, and the start was really important to us, and we wanted to address that part of our game from last week. And I thought we sort of had a really good dominance in the first quarter and probably didn't maximise as much on the scoreboard. But to Adelaide's credit, I thought they were outstanding, especially in and around the ball as the game went on. I thought it was a little bit cleaner in the clinches, and were able to get a little bit more dominance as the game went on. So frustrating, because clearly we're in an outcome-based sport, but we also know what we're building as a footy team as well. And some of the characteristics that you love to see in the grit and the fight and the things that build genuine substance in your team were there on show today.
Did the game look like how you wanted it to look like to halfway through that second quarter, playing a lot of uncontested marks and controlling the ball? Yeah,
look, we probably weren't expecting to take that many marks. I guess early in the game, it was just the way the game played out and what Adelaide were prepared to give us. But in terms of the way the game shaped as the game went on, a contest-based game, I thought that was definitely the game that we certainly planned for. Adelaide have been defending to a really high level, for the last 8 to 10 weeks, and they're a challenging team to score against. So we knew that we needed to be on in that phase of the game, and that's sort of how it played out. But I thought the start of our second quarter was as good as footy as we've played for a while.
I think you spoke to about your ability to team defence and defending the whole ground. How did you rate that?
In terms of ours?
Yeah, you spoke yesterday.
Yeah, look, it's something we've worked on. We spent a lot of time on it this week. We haven't been happy with that part of our game for a period of time now, and we made some little adjustments, and I thought the boys implemented. I thought our back six looked probably the best they've looked for a while. May, Lever, Turner were all in the game, especially in that first half, and certainly got the game looking the right way.
Do you sense you're far off it? I mean, as in getting back there, maybe it's a hard question to answer, but yeah.
Yeah, look, I think that's the challenge, and of footy. We know where we're at as a footy club, in terms of what we're trying to create. And I've said this a little bit, but we're in a bit of a hurry to try and transition to our next premiership team, and that comes with that. You need to start winning, but you also need to build the right way. We're really excited about our youth and some of the players coming through and the development that they're taking. And we're trying to mould the old with the new and create a new team, a new frontier for the Melbourne Footy Club. And the frustrating part of that is you've got to stick to the process at times, irrespective of result. And as I said today, the result is really frustrating. I'm sure it's killing our supporters. I'm sure it's really frustrating for them. But the process of building what we need to build can have those inconsistencies. But one thing I do love about our progression is against some of the very best teams in the competition, we've been to really challenge them, and that's a good sign.
You might be kind of wasting your talent, your older guys like Max and Jack and stuff like that, and then they might not get a second premiership by the time you do rebuild?
No, they've got plenty of time. Max is obviously playing some of his best footy. He's got plenty of years left in him. Jack Viney's still got plenty left in him. Christian Petrarca's 29. We've still got a lot of time to make sure we build this group the right way and develop them the right way. And as I said, we're excited about our youth. We think they're taking some huge strides, but they've got to be developed the right way. As you can see with Jacob Van Rooyen today, I thought it was one of his best games for a long time. So some encouraging signs, but we're in a hurry. We want to do it quick.
How is the confidence of the group? Because as you say, you have been competitive during that stretch, but obviously haven't won for a month.
Yeah, obviously winning builds belief and confidence in what you're doing and where you're going. So we want to start getting some results. Clearly, that's the aim of the game, is to get results and build that winning culture. That's an important in building any team. So that's the challenge for us, is not just to get close to some of these better teams. It's starting to beat them. Collingwood, Gold Coast, Adelaide in the last 5 weeks. We're giving ourselves a chance, but we haven't got across the line. Yeah, look, we did. Judd's been outstanding in that role for us for, probably 3 years. Been able to take down some of the best forwards, and we looked at what we had down there, and We left him there a little bit longer, but then we made the move sort of halfway through that third quarter. So, we've got enormous trust in Judd. He's an extremely high talented player that's still learning his craft as well. So, he played on a pretty good player today and just got beat.
Did he say anything about whether he thought he touched that Keys bicycle kick?
No, I haven't spoken to him about that. But what do you guys think?
It's hard to tell.
Hard to tell.
How's Jake Lever?
Yeah, look, he's fine. Both he and Gorney got some heavy knocks, and we'll be fine for next week. But I thought Jake Lever's response after going back and building his confidence in the VFL last week, he had 7 mark oppos last week, and he came in today and you could tell straight away that he was getting back to his best footy. So that's a big win for us as a footy club.
That inaccuracy that's frustrated you in front of goal was clearly there in the first quarter, but you were able to really turn that around. What can you put that down to?
Yeah, we've just got to keep creating opportunities. We've spoken a lot about our goal kicking. We've spoken less about it in the last probably 3 or 4 weeks. We've really focused on we know we've done the work, and they'll start going through. And in that second quarter, they started going through pretty nicely. But you're right, that first quarter was a time when we had some dominance and we just weren't able to put that on the scoreboard. So against good quality teams, you need to be able to do that.
Was that a change-up from you that helped that, or was that did you do anything differently, or was it?
Oh, look, you look around the world, we just feel there's an anxiety with it. And, sometimes when you strip some of that away and make sure your process is right, and we trust that we've done the work, as long as our process is right, we're confident that the results will turn. It's one of those outcome-based skills that sometimes you just got to make sure you stick to your process and try and take some of that anxiety away, and that's what we've done. Thanks, guys.